Hello, everyone. So today, I guess, is a beautiful day for airing some dirty laundry. Um, I do have a script here that script things to talk about. I'm also going to be conversing a little bit with my wife. So, I guess first, what we're gonna do is start with Terence McKenna. He talks about culture as an operating system. And I'd like to explore a tad of that through quantum physics right here. Kind of. If you walk out of your door and directly into Joe's apartment, you basically just jump from one quantum cultural reality into another quantum cultural reality. And I can show you this a little bit better here. So, if we look at this floor as one quantum culture reality, I have just stepped into another quantum culture reality. And now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is, basically, this can be broken down even further by going from your living room to your bedroom to your kitchen to your office to your bathroom, because all of these are room realities, and they all serve a purpose, just not the same purpose at the same time. If you have a relationship with somebody who allows you to destroy yourself, and you become so accustomed to the routine of the destruction that to move on to another relationship where you can be happy puts you in a fear mindset. And that's normal because this society is designed to cause a fear of the unknown. Oh, okay. I think I skipped something here. But where was that? Okay. Oh, the destructive person, the one that allows you to destroy yourself. If you were to move into a better, healthier relationship, something that you're inspired by, something that is unlike you've ever been in before, then then inviting the self-destruction enabler into the new relationship, uh, where the possibility for happiness actually exists, and somebody cares enough not to allow you to destroy yourself. Um, Let me try to clarify it like this. If you're telling the self-destruction enabler the little things that are making you worried, rather than the person you are having the relationship with, to work out these issues instead of shedding the enabler like a snake would shed its skin, you watch as the enabler plants little tiny seeds that fuck with your relationship that make you happy. Um, Shedding that enabler so that you can move on to the new relationship that is a new operating system, because, it's a new operating system. Um, Say hypothetically this enabler has caused issues in the past in your new relationship. You don't start the new relationship, and the enabler has already been causing problems, and in the new relationship, and the seeds that the enabler has planted have already caused a couple of breakups actually in the new relationship where you were happy. You and the person that you were happy with decide to try again, and you buy let's say a trailer. You start moving out of the apartment where you shared with the enabler, um, because you realize that the walls hold the energy from the previous relationships. You move into this new environment or quantum cultural reality, and by trying to limit the things that you bring into the new quantum culture reality, the trailer, you try not to bring the things that hold the energy of the enabler. Now, maybe this enabler helped her when she was, say, I don't know, 20 years old. Okay, but it doesn't seem to me that he has really done anything to benefit her since. What do you think so far, Misty? I mean, like, anything?
Well, if you've been with somebody a really long time, that's the kind of relationship that you're used to. And you can be afraid to be happy. You can set it up for failure, like if you've been happy before, and it's like you're just waiting for that other shoe to drop, so you almost want to push that happiness away so it won't hurt as much because you're afraid that it's going to go away anyway.
By doing this, by waiting for that other shoe to drop, you can actually manifest that other shoe, which might not have even existed. Do you see any correlation between what I'm reading here, what we've experienced when we were together, or what I'm kind of experiencing at West? Northwest.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. We went through a lot before we lost our kids, and we both did a lot of really messed up things. I mean, they were messed up in different ways. Um,
Absolutely.
but I wasn't I wasn't a good wife for most of our marriage. Um, I think I don't know.
You weren't a bad wife. You just, I think we had a hard time, like, giving a shit enough to try to break through our communication barriers. We just didn't give a fuck. Which is probably one of the reasons why maybe the age of consent, the age of marriage, should maybe be raised. My mom always used to say, give it a year. Um, you weren't a bad wife. We just had our issues. And,
It was a big nasty loop of you did this to me, I did this to you over and over and over and over again.
yes, it was. There's a lot of blame game. Um, and you're in a new relationship now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. You happy?
It's really it's really scary. Yeah.
Is it worth trying to be happy for?
Yeah, but you have to, I don't know, no relationship is perfect, but you have to look at it, take a step back and look at it and, you know, like, I did this wrong. I can't do this again. Or
So
I have to try to be better. I can't do this again.
you're talking about learning from your mistakes.
Right.
Interesting concept. Um, I know you weren't too thrilled when I told you about my girlfriend.
I think it was maybe, I don't know. I know that I get really defensive, and I don't know. I have a lot of hurt and anger that it's really hard for me to deal with because there's so much, and then like the loss of our kids just piled on top of it. It's like I'm afraid to deal with that, and then I don't know. It just maybe the way, maybe you could have worded it better, and maybe I could have taken a step back and like not messaged you so quickly after you tried to explain that to me. Maybe kind of counted to 10, or like then take 5 minutes or half an hour, or even until morning, so that what didn't burst out was all this, all this anger.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I'm going to touch back on that a little bit later and maybe get some of the people that are watching caught up on some of that after I read a little bit more from this. It's very hard for people to face their reflections when they've been kept on dope. Another reality. When they've been kept on dope and allowed to be kept on dope and always blame others for their own mistakes and thought processes. Explore the law of attraction and the fact that thoughts are energy. Energy goes where it's focused. So if you have spent your life second-guessing yourself because other people have told you you're not good enough and you're not worthy, you allow this kind of one-dimensional mindset to overrule that which you know to be true. You would in effect be giving up your power to someone who is not showing you any kind of true appreciation. And if this person has spent the past decade not knowing how to make you happy, but you keep doped up so you can have the illusion of happiness, then how can you trust this enabler to make decisions about your new relationship that makes you happy when you couldn't make when he couldn't make you happy himself? That one's to the new girlfriend. The logic is faulty, and I refuse to grab onto the misery and try to convince myself that I'm happier that way. I would like your input on that one, and I'm going to grab a smoke.
People, well, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. People, like, people used to look at our relationship, Ken and I's, and they would see something that was in reality actually a lot different than what it really was. They would look at it and see, you know, he did this, he did that, you know, and they would see that, like, he is like the negative aspect of our relationship, and I'm you know, whatever, positive, trying, and he just keeps doing all this stuff over and over and over again, and that's not what happened. If you're looking at like attitudes or like pessimism as opposed to optimism, then if you're looking at it like that, you've got it completely backwards. I am the pessimist. I am trying, I have been trying to break that, but even in my head sometimes it's like it's a really hard habit to break. Old habits really do die hard. And he has always been the optimist, and after we lost our kids, I begged him to just leave me to rot in my misery, because that's I just couldn't imagine anything else. When they told us that they had terminated our parental rights, it was like such a blow. I was like, my heart should have stopped beating, because in some ways you took my heart away, and I just could not imagine a life without them. So I was just like, go away, leave me alone. I'm begging you, please just leave me alone. And he didn't.
Speaking on that, you mentioned that in the message that you sent when Katie was watching, and she got it in her head that I wouldn't leave because I was stalking you. So, do you want to clarify that at all?
I guess maybe it's the wordage or the interpretation. That's not how it was. It was like I just wanted to, shut myself up in a room and like leave when I had to go to work, and just basically walk around dead.
Yeah.
And yeah, he pulled me through that. I'm not completely through that. I still have a lot that I have to deal with in regards to both our kids, and not being able to look at him and see the ways that he's changed, because my eyes see with the old eyes. And it kind of starts that whole cycle again because of my negative attitude towards him.
There's something I was talking to Katie about, is that every day is a blank page. So you have, if you're wanting to know when your future starts, it's not 5 minutes ago, it's not 5 minutes from now. Your future starts now. And like I was saying earlier, your thoughts create. So when you're ready to break through that fucking misery, and that you can start, I don't want to say fixing yourself, but fixing yourself. Because I can't be miserable. I don't have it in me to sit here and spend my life trying to be miserable. And I know that a lot of people like embrace this, and I'm not just referring to you. I'm not referring to you. It's so comfortable, this illusion of happiness that we share, that we decide that this is what it is, and so I'm going to make do with being happy with my illusion of what makes me happy. That when we genuinely find the happiness, we self-sabotage. We start looking for the ways the other shoe to drop, for ways that it's going to go bad. Well, what if this? Well, what if that? Well, what if we stop saying what if so much and we just tried to be happy, really fucking happy? What if? Repetition of fear-based ideas to manipulate a destructive cycle in someone's life and relationships. I missed something. Okay, to convince ourselves that we are happier that way. Repetition of fear-based ideas to manipulate a destructive cycle in someone's life and relationships. I'm going to give an example. I told Katie about the times that I hit you, and it was wrong, and there were other ways that it could have been handled differently. Do you agree, or?
Right, but you also have to look at that objectively, because it takes two to tango. There's two people in that situation, so you could both have handled things differently. You can't just be like,
It's not just the man's fault, that the woman sometimes contributes to the reality that she's experiencing as well.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. A couple of months ago, Frank came over to the apartment and tells Katie he's going to have an intervention with her. And when she was going to before she went to the intervention, she was in this like ecstatically optimistic mode. Oh my goodness, she was like so happy and so like bright for the future, and you could see in her eyes it just like shining. It was fucking awesome, and everything was going really good. And then if we would have left town before Frank showed up that day, if we would have just fucking left, I promise you we would still be dancing on clouds. Anyways, he starts punching her in the arm. I wasn't allowed to go to this intervention, of course, because I might have been able to defend myself. But he starts punching her in the arms and telling her to imagine that that's what I'm going to do to her face. And sure enough, that's what she started focusing her energy on, that I was going to do that to her face. It wasn't easy to break that mindset that the enabler had put into her head. And mainly, that's because every time she looked down at her arms, there's these big fucking mushroom clouds of bruise. And it's just disgusting. The punching her in the arms and saying, imagine that's what he's going to do to your face. This is psychological abuse. This is manipulation and torment to the core. she was given a can of pepper spray and told to keep a knife nearby. This hence instilling a fear state of mind into a relationship where fear had no place. This is demented logic, and the man who does this likes to brag also about spinning people out. Well, there's a karmatic debt for everybody you have spun out, Frank, and for your own selfish, egotistical purposes. You will have to pay that karmatic debt, karmatic price, no matter how full of yourself you convince yourself to be. Absolutely nobody is as impressed by your ego as you are. I would like to ask you a question, though, Frank. How is my having dealt with the problems alcohol caused in my life worse than not allowing her to see what the drugs are doing to herself? You spent a decade fucking this lady up, claiming that you were trying to get her clean. Meanwhile, half the bottles of pills that I dumped down the toilet came from people in your family. And you can't say you didn't know, because the pill bottles were everywhere in her dire attempt at screaming for help. But you didn't see that, did you? You were too busy shopping for the newest and greatest speaker and fancy-dancy television set to give a fuck about what's going on in your wife's life, wouldn't you? So you helped her about a decade ago. Tits to you. That's no justification for sabotaging her happiness now with somebody who actually did give a fuck about your life. You were saying before the camera went on about when I got out of jail in October of 10.
You got out of jail in like November. You went to jail in October.
Yeah. Well, you know what I meant. Do you want to repeat that for the camera?
I wanted to try again. I wanted to make it right because it hadn't felt right for a really long time, our marriage. I mean, we have 5 beautiful children. We most definitely did that right. But as for our relationship, it hadn't felt right in a really long time, and it wasn't just me, and it wasn't just you. It was just the way we interacted with each other.
Yeah. Well, I figured, I was thinking about that after you told me, and I'm thinking that a lot of the mindset that we build, it's so fucking hard to shed this, and this is why so many relationships break up. This is why this is such a bad start for the relationship between Katie and I. I mean, geez, if we were to try it again, we'd have to start over all the way from scratch, because Frank has already helped to plant these seeds in her head that I'm never going to change. And when you sent that message to her Facebook because she was wanting to talk to you, and then you finally responded and you sent the message, then it was because I brainwashed you throughout our marriage. Do you feel that I brainwashed you, or that I have allowed you to come up with decisions on your own? Because I do like to explore options. It can't just be one way and this is the way it's going to be. You look at all these other options, but make our decisions jointly. It's a joint institution. I
think a lot of times it depends on your perception and your tone and the way you say things. If you're used to hostility, then you can make it there when it's not there. Or I know that with me, where I have a hard time looking at you and not seeing the man that you were, someone who's had a bad relationship, you might look at every man and think, he's like that.
Which is unfair.
Right, but that's really hard to break yourself of that habit.
So, Bill Hicks talked about this a little bit. I'm trying to remember his exact quote. It was something like, there's a lot of fucked up women out there, but I'm not giving up on pussy. You can't blame an entire gender for things that you've experienced in your past. And I am really sorry that somehow somebody who's never even sat down and had a conversation with me was allowed to come in and ruin what was probably the best relationship of my life. No offense. No offense. No offense. But it was. By saying all these things that were so completely untrue about me and so unlike anything I want to be. I mean, look, I've fully evaluated my past. I know what a scumbag I was, and I'm harder on myself than I think anybody else is. But it's really a shame. So I have just a couple more things to say about the piece of paper, and then if we want to do any more bullshitting, we can. It'd kind of be nice if you would talk and like that way convince people that you're not brainwashed. I don't even have any brain detergent. So anyway, Katie, please do me a favor. Look at the caliber of people I attract versus the caliber of people he attracts. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's not me who's being humiliated by your curl. I'm just saying. Also, Katie, the revolution you love so much, it's taking place inside of you. Everything else is fractalized projection. Come on, baby, wake up. Alright. So that's all I got to say about that. I love Katie, and yeah, so now it's out there. I didn't talk about her much because I was afraid of saying things that would get back to you and hurt you. Hey, you looking? Ah. But now that you're in a new relationship, I feel I can talk freely about this. You seem to be quite thrilled with your new man. So I'm telling you just how thrilled I was with my lady. And I treated her like a lady because she was a lady. Anything else?
No.
Alright. Peace, everybody. Have a great day.